Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Royal Sovereign. I think a lot of you have been waiting for this one and it's finally in the game. Tier 7 British battleship focused around brawling. And unfortunately, the monetization here is horrible. At least there is a direct purchase option. Of course, it is also available in loot boxes. But the direct purchase option is really expensive. Tier 7 premium ship for $77 in the premium shop. Yikes. It is, of course, an Admiral bundle. If you want this ship, I would recommend you go that route. I do not know the drop rates on the loot boxes. Usually when it comes to the gambling in this game, it's way better to go with the Admiral pack if you want to guarantee you get yourself the ship. And with that said, it's quite disappointing that that's the monetization, because this ship is incredible. At tier 7, we got quite a few solid brawling battleships. This is an excellent addition. You're going to look at the consumables here and realize maybe this ship is a little bit insane. You get super heals. You get the short range hydro off of the destroyers in the British line. And it lasts forever. So pushing in, you don't have to worry so much about torpedoes. You're going to spot them. Not only that, this ship is incredibly maneuverable. It's got built-in acceleration buff. And because of that, we can also take rudder mods. So my rudder shift here is absolutely insane. We have a 660 meter turning circle radius. So a ship like this one has insane excel, insane maneuverability. You're going to be dancing around in these brawls. It is so much fun. And you have a super heal to back you up. Look at the duration on that hydro, man. Insane. And on top of that, you have submarine surveillance of 6 kilometers. So even in these mid tiers, which is one of the biggest issues with brawling at tier 6, tier 7, there's so many tier 6 submarines. A lot of double sub games. And pushing into that, well, is often a bad idea. This ship, though, can push into that and be able to spot those submarines out. I didn't get to play with it in this video, but they are buffing it on release to have a little bit better turret traverse, going from 45 seconds down to 36 seconds, which is really nice, as I did find the turrets a little bit slow. So buffing that, and the Airstrike is actually getting a buff too. They're giving it a little bit longer reload, 30 seconds versus 25. And they up the range, though, to 10 kilometers. You get 2 bombs instead of 1, and the damage is going up from 3,400 to 4,200. So if you're looking to brawl at tier 7 and you're worried about subs, maybe in your West Virginia 44, something like that, maybe your Gneisenau, maybe your Scharnhorst 43, something like that, well, this is a pretty interesting option, I gotta say. The secondaries here aren't too bad either. The firing angles are kind of horrible, though. To get all of them firing, it's 60 degrees forward, 50 degrees backwards. But you get 71% of your DPM out to 20 degrees forward and 10 degrees backwards. So it's pretty solid still. A lot of fire chance on those secondaries. Their pen isn't amazing. Found them to be reasonable. What I was surprised about, though, is the main guns here on this ship. If you didn't know, they're actually releasing 2 versions of this ship. Today we're taking a look at the Royal Sovereign, but there's another one in the Soviet line that focuses more on the main guns, gives it battle cruiser dispersion. We'll take a look at that one soon. But this one's just got regular battleship dispersion, 1.8 Sigma, and the guns were incredible. Perhaps I just got lucky. In fact, that is more than likely what happened. But 381 millimeter guns, you get 4 of them here, which is decent enough at tier 7. You have the overmatch for your tier. And the alpha damage is fine at 11,350. The other one, Archangel, I have no idea how to pronounce it, by the way. I apologize. That one gets a little bit more. It's got more pen on that one as well. But we'll take a look at that one another time. For now, though, this one is mostly focused on brawling. The HE here is actually quite solid, 6,300 alpha, so a little better HE on this one compared to the other one, the Archangel in this case. And we get 95 mil pen on this HE too. Not that that matters too much at these tiers, but it is worth pointing out with a 35% fire chance. HE, well worth using here. I'm using Expert Loader, Gun Feeder, or whatever it's called these days, to be able to swap between them. Because I want to use some of the AP, I also want to use some of the HE. Now, the secondaries are supposed to have an 8.9 kilometer range. You can see that on the mini-map there. I found that they were firing at like 9.3, 9.5 even? 8.9 I said. Did I say 8.3? 8.9. I'm sorry if I misspoke there. but I found them firing a little bit sooner. Maybe there's a bug. Maybe they've changed secondaries for ships that are pushing into you that would hit at that range. I don't know. A typical secondary range, though, at tier 7 is 9.5, like for Gneisenau, Scharnhorst, West Virginia 44 when you fully build for it. Maybe there's a little bit of a weird bug there. I am not sure. But the secondaries did solid. They light a lot of fires. That's what I really noticed, was the fire was quite decent here. If we take a look at the secondary hitting DPM, let's say 8 kilometers at tier 7, we have 50,000 hitting DPM with this ship. West Virginia 44, which is the best of all of the tier 7 battleships, by the way, has 61,000. So we're in the hunt. Something like a Gneisenau has only 37,000 hitting DPM at that range. So pretty solid secondary DPM on this ship. I should also mention, with playing this one, early access, like this CC early review period or whatever you want to call it, we only had access to a 14-point commander. So what you're seeing is building for secondaries and then getting concealment, because it has 12-kilometer detect. I wanted to make use of that. It's also very slow, using Brisk here to buff us up to just over 25 knots. The standard speed on this ship is quite slow, though, at 22 knots. That is a downside for sure. Running Brisk, running Speed Flag helps a lot. It doesn't feel very sluggish, though, when you're actually fighting, thanks to the rudder shift, turning circle radius, and that built-in acceleration, though. Just getting into the fight that can take some time. The concealment's great. But the reason I'm bringing that up is that I'm not taking Superintendent. I don't have fire prevention here. I am lacking the number of heals. I only had 3 heals, by the way. 3 of these super heals base, which heal back 21% of your HP. And they have a 60-second cooldown. Not only that, it's a 14-second action time. So a short action time relative to most heals. Usually a standard heal would be 28 seconds. So this is half. A normal super heal we see on the British line would be 20 seconds, say. The advantage of this is you get to your cooldown time faster. So from selecting you want to heal to the next time you could heal is sooner, because there's less action time to go through. And of course, we have that 60-second cooldown time. Very, very powerful stuff here. You can get up to 6 super heals, I believe, if you're running Cunningham, as well as both abilities, the 4-pointer and the 3-pointer, to get you more heals. Not sure you could get there. 2 million potential damage is quite a lot, but it's maybe possible. The armor's not bad either at closer ranges. Your upper belt is quite tanky. We will look at this in port, but the Citadel is a little bit above water, so you will have to be careful of that. This ship also doesn't have improved deck armor or anything like that, so it's 26 millimeters. So you will be having to deal with overmatch at your tier at longer ranges. Closer ranges, it's less about deck armor, more about your upper belt armor. So it gets stronger the closer you get with this one. It's all about pushing in when you're playing with the Royal Sovereign. And yet these guns, man, these guns are just working. I mean, when I aim correctly, this next one, maybe avert your eyes. Maybe we could all just close our eyes and pretend this one didn't happen, huh? Deal? Yeah, just simply misaimed that one entirely. The guns are awesome, though. They really are very good. Your A kind of sucks, though. We're expecting that, right? It's a bit of a British dreadnought style. I don't know exactly the term for it, but don't expect good AA here. That will be a problem for you. I think the submarine surveillance is very interesting to have on a battleship. That's very, very unique. I didn't run into subs in my play session here with it so far, but I imagine that's going to help a lot when trying to push in. The Hydro has already been incredibly helpful. Here in my very first game with the ship, by the way, we get 7 kills. Ship is a menace, man. Now this was a full down tier, right? Like, we're top tier in this one, so that helps us out a ton. Tier 7 against Tier 6, Tier 5 is always going to perform quite well. Secondary is doing some decent damage, decent fire chance. Not everything is full penning, although maybe I could run some builds with IFHE in the future. I have to try out a 21-point build on this ship. It's going to be nuts how much more healing, how much tankier, how much more damage these secondaries could do. By the way, notice the turpits there? They were shooting before 8.9 kilometers, right? I'm not crazy here, right? It's kind of interesting to have that. Turpits uses damage control instantly, so considering our secondaries have good fire chance, our HE shells have pretty good fire chance. Unfortunately, we don't get it there. I want the perma-fires. I'm greedy for it. And we can stay relatively well angled while firing all of our main guns. That's the other really comfortable thing I noticed about this ship. It's 30 degrees forward, 33 degrees backwards. That's not bad at all. Poor GK crying in the corner, by the way. This ship even has good rudder, good excel, good turning circle radius to allow for poor firing angles, right? Oh, this is just pure greed for that front fire. And we got it! Turpits on every fire lit. Always feels good to punish someone for using their damage control on one single fire. That is a teaching moment, hopefully. Don't damage control just one fire, guys. It is never worth it. Almost never worth it, okay? There's maybe 1 or 2 situations. Oh no, now we're getting rushed. Fortunately, though, I had my hydro active for the Turpit's potential torps, and it's still active for another over 2 minutes. Crazy stuff. Here I really noticed the turret traverse. We're never going to get our front guns online, so I was hoping to get my rear turrets, but look at the secondaries just munching through this guy. And again, I noticed the turret traverse. It will be buffed, okay? I'm playing right here with 45-second turret traverse. It's going to go down to 36. Much more comfortable. And with this destroyer-like turning circle radius, we can still get out of these torpedoes. And accelerate, too. Accelerate and turn out of the way. Absolutely nuts stuff. The real disappointment here has to just be how you get the ship. Everything about it is so cool. This ship is really, really fun to play. It's just the monetization method, guys. I'm not making the whole video about it, as promised, but $77 for a tier 7 premium? What are we doing? That's more than a tier 8 premium was back in the day. I don't get it, man. I really don't understand it. I don't know if this is inflated price either. This is something, unfortunately, I'm going to have to talk about more when we look at the other new ships of this update, but there's a tier 9 British DD being introduced, and it's also an Admiral bundle, except for $180 US or 45,000 doubloons? Isn't the tier 9 Admiral bundle 36,000 doubloons? I might be misremembering here. I got to do some research before I actually make that video. But that leads me to believe that maybe these tier 7s are also inflated. Are we seeing some Admiral bundle inflation now too? It's not only that we have to have an Admiral pack, but the Admiral pack has to be more expensive yet. Seems crazy to me. But that really is the one problem with this ship. Very unfortunate that it wasn't included in some sort of event where you could earn it. I think this would have been the perfect opportunity to run, like in the World of Warships Legends game, the console game. They're running a campaign this next update for 2 ships at the end, and you get to pick one, and then you'll have to pay doubloons if you want the other one. But you can grind out the whole campaign for free, and then you get your choice of which one you want, and then you'd have to pay for the other one. Wouldn't that have been so cool, considering they're releasing 2 versions of this ship? One, a Brawly secondary focused one, a different one, more main gun focus in the Soviet tree. That would have been so cool, but no, these are both just for 77 bucks straight up, or if you loot box it. It feels like a missed opportunity to me. Anyways, enough about monetization. Look at us pushing in and brawling with this thing. The concealment really allows you to pick your timing, and you will need to pick your timing considering the lack of speed on this one. But it's really, really nice still to push up, get closer to islands, that kind of thing. It's really, really powerful in these closer range situations. And the guns, again, 380s, pretty good. You can overmatch through still a lot of cruisers at these tiers. Get through Albemarle there, get another Citadel. The guns behaved. They shouldn't have, given on paper stats being regular battleship dispersion, 4 guns up front, 4 guns up back, 4 turrets, I meant to say, for 8 guns at 1.8 Sigma. Most other ships that are in that config, I don't find them consistent at all. So likely I've been just getting good RNG that will level out. Sometimes that happens with new ships. Sometimes I get bad RNG that levels out, and this time looks like I'm getting lucky. So don't take these guns as being especially accurate, okay? I would focus more on the healing. I would focus more on the maneuverability, and the secondaries also supporting this ship to play really well at closer ranges. Notice this last game here. We're up against tier 9s. Although we do have to say, no carrier, no sub in these games that I'm showing you. So it's going to suffer a lot more, especially into the carriers. The subs, you might be able to do okay. You might surprise some of them with your sub surveillance. And then maybe your airstrikes with their buff are enough to actually one-shot some submarines. That could be kind of cool. It does have a 20-second action time, this submarine surveillance, 6-kilometer range, and then a 2-minute cooldown. So you can't use it particularly often, but it's enough that you should get your airstrike off and do some pretty solid damage. Not quite getting the damage I wanted into Carcello. I'm greeding for all the kills I can get. Not quite on a Kraken yet in this one. Baji, though, fortunately shooting HE at us. Otherwise, we would have taken so much more damage. And I got a damage control here because, again, I don't have fire prevention on this build, unfortunately. The guns are good enough to Citadel Baji. That's crazy. Can we out-accelerate these torpedoes? Unfortunately, no. But look at us drift around, eating probably 2 more. I think most other battleships there with similar maneuverability, just without the acceleration buff that this one has built in, eat 3 torps there. We still go down to a fire. Was still spotted there. And last salvo from the Shira actually got a fire on us, unfortunately. But I would have lived because I would have had another heal with a full 21-point commander. I'm bringing up the 21-point commander a lot because it's a premium ship, and a lot of people are going to have at least 18 points to throw at another heal on this ship, and it's going to go insane once you do get that. And obviously, since this is a Brawly secondary ship, I got several builds that I have to try on this thing. I'm always tinkering with these secondary Brawling battleship builds, trying to optimize things more. This is what I was running to start with, if you're wondering. I really think both HE and AP are worth using on this ship, especially into up tiers. The HE is going to perform really well for you, where 380s start to fall off when we get into those tier 9 games, of course. And for 380s, your pen actually is quite poor on them, relative, especially to the Arcane. I don't even know, but this one. So HE here, definitely a strength of it. Now, if I'm building with a 21-point commander, am I going to take... I think you need to take Conceal and Brisk, by the way. That's just mandatory to get this ship into the fight. 12-kilometer detect's really good. Your speed is just so slow that you do need Brisk to help you out so much. And with the acceleration buff built in, Brisk is really nice to get even more value out of that too. So I only have a potential of 1 more 4-point skill. So do I take Fire Prevention or Emergency Repair Expert? I think considering our heals cooldown and short action time, getting us to our next heal quicker, means I could get away without fire prevention. We'll see. Maybe that's too greedy, but I'm going to try definitely running Emergency Repair Expert and then probably just Adrenaline Rush. The other thing to consider is going Emergency Repair Expert and Improved Repair Party Readiness to get up to 5 heals potentially. And then if I ran Cunningham, get 2 kills, I believe, gets me another consumable. That could be 6. That's a lot of healing. That is a ton of healing. And if I look, it's a 60% pen repair, so we may not get full value out of all those heals now that I'm thinking about it. Citadel repair, though, is 10%. Yikes. Torp protection is 16%. Yikes. Okay, there's some weaknesses. We got to show you the armor now. See, at close range, suddenly, you get some pretty good armor in here. Aim for the bow if you overmatch 26, which 380s do. At longer ranges, you get overmatched as well. HE, right? It's at closer range that this thing starts to feel quite tanky. But your Citadel is definitely above water here, quite a ways above water. And it's turtleback? Can we even call that turtleback considering the angle? It's not really going to bounce shells up and away. Not really. Maybe up top it might do a little bit. But yeah, it's 51, 38 back there. And if we pull this away, 51, 51, and then 152, and 330. So decent there. But if you do want to Citadel this thing, I think you're going to have to aim just in front. Yeah, front turret and just in front of the front turret, or back turret and just behind the back turret, by the looks of things, is where the Citadel armor is the weakest, because then it's 152 plus 51 plus 38. Still, cruisers likely won't get through that, but some battle cruisers certainly can. A lot of battleships can as well. So it is vulnerable in some ways. The speed is going to be a massive problem for a ship like this one. You're going to get into bad situations and not really be able to get out of them. Your heal should carry you through a lot of those situations, though, especially because with a Hydro, your maneuverability, you shouldn't be eating that many torpedoes. Subs shouldn't be as much of an issue if they're close. If they know to stay away, though, then that can definitely still be a problem. I ran steering gears here. Again, the super heals getting us through fire damage. Fire damage being 100% healable. When you have so much healing that comes back relatively quickly, I'm not as worried about a fire or two. We also don't have a ton of HP up front. Fires are percent damage, so it's not dealing in an absolute numbers term that much damage to you. It's still the same percentage, but it's not like on, let's say, a Hanover. The actual number you're taking every tick is pretty massive, even if it is just the same percentage. I'm taking Hydro mod here. If you have it, I think that's pretty good, man. 216 seconds is such a long time to have your Hydro. I ran auxiliary armaments. I did lose my main guns a little bit, so it might be worth running main armaments mod, but I want to keep those secondaries alive. I don't have the points to run preventive maintenance to help keep the secondaries alive either, so that was kind of the idea there. I wanted to brawl, I wanted to push in, I wanted to see what the secondaries could do, and wow, it was good. when you can push in. It's a very slow ship, and because of that, it might be hard to play. The armor, not amazing either, especially compared to some of the German battleships at this tier, Scharn 43, stuff like that. Much, much faster, obviously, with that engine boost too, and much better armor. We don't have torps here either, something to consider in some of those brawls. If you do end up brawling Scharn horse or anything like that, they got a torpedo advantage, and they can run you down very, very easily. But really, the only major problem I see with this ship is the unfortunate monetization required to get it. That's the real downside here. Otherwise, this is an absolutely awesome, fun, interesting addition at tier 7, and I just wish they were a little more reasonable on the monetize. Wouldn't it have been cool, man, to just have some kind of campaign or some kind of event that you grind out for a while, and at the very end, you get to choose one or the other, this ship or which we'll take a look at this one, this Soviet version, which is more main guns focused. So you want to fire your guns and have accurate salvos, or you want to brawl, right? Like, that would have been such a cool campaign event to run, and they're just instead throwing it into loot boxes and too expensive Admiral bundles, in my opinion. Unfortunate, guys. But with update 14.8 around the corner, we've got ourselves an incredible looking anniversary event, 10 years of World of Warships. Wargaming cooked with that one. And of course, the dockyard, this update starting too. The event for San Diego, I believe you can earn for free throughout this update. So there are good events for free-to-play players right now too. It's just these ones are fun, man. I want everybody to have access to such fun new content. Anyways, I'm rambling at this point. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.